Hello, it's Ryan. So this should be one of the last parts for this tutorial series. What we've done before, we had done some texturing for our wooden table here. So I wanted to go over a little bit more in depth for the actual rendering for this, as well as getting it exported and into Unity for this course. We were going to be using Unity, so I'll show that process as well as like being able to set up good renders and being able to get a good portfolio piece. So now we had talked before about going into the rendering tab here. Now on this, I'm going to let this load here for a second because this is just going to take 10 seconds to be able to render whatever I'm showcasing. But in this, you can see that it has a preview of what is rendering in real time with a ray tracer renderer. This is the iRay renderer, which is native within Substance Painter. So you can see over here on the right, we have settings, we have some other options here. We also have our options for our camera, our environment, and a bunch of other things here that we will get into here in a moment. So let me turn that off for a second. So whenever I move this around, it's going to get real blurry here, and then it's going to then ray trace the render for each of the like photo uh, uh, particles that are going through to hit and actually bounce the light around to be able to actually get the render for things. And you'll notice that it is pretty fast and pretty intuitive. I can do this at any resolution that I desire and any position. So the problem kind of comes down into is how do you actually present your work in a better light. So one thing that we're actually going to try to do a little bit more is to actually go in and do a few options. But one thing that's kind of a little odd is that, hey, we actually have this little drawer here actually like sticking out. This is now kind of done, so it is been good for our exploded bake, but this is something that we don't necessarily need for our actual like rendering. So I'm actually going to go in and separate this out as a separate piece. And now that we actually have everything baked out and everything, the power is that we can move this around and not have to worry about the actual bake. So I'm gonna just pull up Blender here real quick. And this is our low point before, right? So I'm actually going to go in and Control C, Control V, and actually no, that didn't work. Copy. Where are you? Duplicate objects. There we go. Control D. Sorry. Different programs. I'm used to many different programs. Okay, so I'm going to name this. Come on now. Low poly render. Okay. Get the name right. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to turn the other one off, and then I'm going to go in and select. I need to get these displays off as well. But I'm just going to select all that and Control and plus to be able to select everything. And then I'm just going to move that into its proper location. Should be right there. Okay. And then I'm going to turn that off. And now that's the correct location. And so now I'm going to export this out. Okay, LP3. Do this as render. And make sure that our selected objects, just the mesh, and export that. And then I'm going to go back into here. And then I'm going to press the edit button up here, and I'm going to configure project, select. I'm going to select my new mesh, and then I'm going to open, and I'm going to make sure that preserve stroke is on and auto run rep is off, so I'm not doing anything else. then open. And you'll notice that this is now fixed with our location here. Another thing that can be useful is if you need to like re-import the mesh. If it's the same asset, it's very similar, but one is doing a new target file and one is doing the same file. This can also be useful if you're trying to like rebake maps. Let me see if I can find it. I think it's this one. No, it's not that. Where are you? There's a section here that has reassigned textures. This is if you have like multiple materials. So if like for some reason you had a material on like the top and the bottom, like you can reassign the materials with this. Right now it's grayed out, so we can't select it. But this is what we need. So now we're gonna go back into rendering. So in here, now that we have our render piece here, we have this background, which this background is actually producing our lighting, and I can actually like turn this. This is what's called a HDRI, a high dynamic range image, and these are actually very useful to get lighting, because it basically takes a probe of whatever the lighting scenario is where it was captured outside. Or inside it. There's also interior probes as well. So if we go onto this tab here and we go to environment maps, which is where our HDRI lives, then you can see that if I change it up, it changes the scenario. And this can actually be quite useful because you can get different lighting scenarios per asset. And this is one of the powers of PBR, or physically based rendering texturing, is that you can change up the lighting scenario to be completely different, and it will still have the same physically correct values with your actual textures, which is one of the reasons why we use this workflow. I'm going to choose some maybe like either studio lighting. Studio lighting is good for just like regular kind of like natural kind of lighting, which you can get more even results, which can be useful for what we need. So, but we can actually also, because like with the studio lighting, you see it's like kind of like these weird blobs of light. And we don't necessarily want that across everything because we don't want to necessarily see it. So we can actually go down here to let's say like the ground. So this actually you can see that it's actually catching the light on the ground, which is a useful thing if you actually want to do that. Now you can also change its location as well slightly, so you can have it go up and down, left and right. So you can put this like right next to it like this. There we go. So now it's actually like sitting on the ground and it's going to get like some render there, and it's going to catch the light, which is also pretty useful. Unless you don't actually want the actual background, but you want the light information from it. So I'm actually going to turn that off and I'm going to hit the clear. So this actually allows you to have a neutral background. But it's still getting your light information. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. So this actually allows you to be able to render it in a clean and makeshift, a clean and clear-cut manner. So from here, there's actually a lot of other settings that we can change with. So you also have your camera focus. So this can be the field of view or the millimeter value. So if you took any like photo classes, you have more of a large depth of field or a low depth of field. So basically, it has it where you can change the focal distance as well as like how short you kind of want the image to be. So if you're trying to get more of a like orthogonal versus a perspective kind of view. And so this is actually quite useful to get, but I'm actually going to change this up a little bit to have a little bit more depth of field. Maybe not too much, but like a little less. trying to get it to where we have some, but it's a little bit more studio environment and better for our presentation of our final asset. So I'm just going to get one that's like maybe about here or so. So we also have like things like depth of field and aperture. You can play around with those. There's also a bunch of post effects. You also have things like vignetting, which allows you to work a little bit on the corners, if it actually is working. I don't think that's actually working. You can also change up the exposure on the light as well. So I'm going to change that up a little bit. Changing up a couple of different settings here. I'm going to try this on again. Color correction, tone mapping, glare. Yeah, I think the only thing that I would really want is like some vignetting, but it's not seeming to catch in the render. But we can actually do that as a post effect as well once we get it into GIMP or Photoshop, whichever you prefer. Okay, so like with this, it's pretty good for the actual like settings on this. Yeah, this is like the if we wanted to change like shader components, there's like different shaders within Substance. Like if we wanted to do something that's like Dota or like clay render, like these are like presets to have different shader values versus the standard shader. So I'm just gonna keep the standard shader for now because we don't need to do anything like crazy for this. Just a standard shader is fine for now. Okay, so now we also have a couple of different settings that we have here. So we have the camera override for the exact like size, and so I want mine to be 1920 by 1080, which is a standard 16 by 9 aspect ratio. And from here, now I'm going to change it up where I can change my maximum samples or my time. So this is defaulted to be either by time or by samples. I'm actually going to change this up to be, let's say like, I don't know, these are minutes. So let's do 5 minutes or 100 samples. And maybe change it up a little bit there. Get the camera to be a little better here. Okay, and this is going to do its thing, and it's going to render out my image. So at any point I can actually like stop this, so I'm probably going to stop at, there you go, 10 seconds. There we go, and I'm going to save this image, and I'm going to change that up to my folder. And I'm going to add a new folder here for renders. Okay, just do this as wood table render 1. Okay, and then I'll change it up to be a slightly different angle. And you also kind of notice that I'm kind of like putting it kind of like front center. I might actually do this one as like a little bit more like this, get the other angle, be able to showcase that, as well as like making sure that I have it kind of centered off. I'm not like, I have like gutter space from the top and bottom a little bit there. It's centered left and right. I might change like the light a little bit to be able to move it around to get a more interesting lighting scenario. So like maybe like this, maybe a little bit. Yeah, that's more interesting. Getting a little bit of the rim light over here on this bottom, and you get balanced light here, which is great. And then save that out. Do this as number 2. And get some more images as well. And do one like this. process number 3. And like you can obviously have like between like 3 to 10 images, depending upon the complexity of the asset and how you like to be able to render out stuff. And there's no like wrong way. It's more a matter of like preference on like what you kind of want the images to kind of look like. And this texture is only a 512, so like it's not like breaking the bank with the resolution for it. So we're actually utilizing the texture pretty well for the amount that it is, but we could go in and make this like a 4K if we really wanted to really up the resolution. But like I'm doing it performant for like low-end machines, so we're not necessarily like breaking the bank on it. Like I could do like a 4K. And the main thing is that you need to make sure that when you're working with something that's that high a resolution, that you put the time into the texturing. Otherwise, like it may not look quite the same at a certain resolution in comparison to like a different one. So putting in the time to the texturing is going to be well worth the effort, because you put a bunch of time into the actual like rendering for this. You need to you put as much time into like the modeling side of it. You also need to do that same kind of effect and mindset into the rendering of it. Okay, so that's about like 5 different images. This is good to go. So the other thing that we want to do is make sure that our export is kind of set up. So I actually did like a quick little test to make sure that our Unity setup was working. And there's actually a preset for Unity in Substance Painter for its rendering textures. Typically, like just using like your standard PBR metal rough is fine, but there's actually a setting for Unity specific. So one of these, like there's also ones for like Unity and a few other engines as well. But let's just do our Unity's standard Metallic and export that. And there's also a quick button here for open in directory, which is popping me out over here. So I'm going to just do that real quick, and then I'm going to save this, and I'm going to jump over to Unity. Not GIMP, Unity. Okay, so in Unity, I'm just like opening up a standard project. You can go into like more, or making a new project. Let's see, here we go. I already had a little bit of this going on here. So that's our asset there. But I'm going to do this again from scratch so that people know how to do this. So, all right, I'm just going to delete all this, and I can get rid of that too. Okay, basically like this is a default scene. So, okay, so this is our default scene, right? So now I'm going to go in and go to our folder with all of our assets, and I'm going to find the final render. So it's this guy. Okay. All right, and I'm going to make a folder for materials, and you could do one for meshes as well. It's good to name your stuff. Naming things is good. Okay, so now that lives in there, and in materials, now we're going to make a new material. So it's going to be our wood table mat. Okay, I'm going to drag drop that on there. Okay. All right. So now we need to go back into where our textures live, which is going to be here, and I believe it's these guys is the new ones. So there we go. Okay. So now these are not imported. Now we have our albedo, we have our normal map, and we have our packed map. So one thing that's kind of like weird with this is that remember how in Substance we basically have our, like, let's say like our albedo, right? So that's going to be this one. This one is basically the shading of the baked light information, which is basically the grayscale. It's white to black, right? Same thing with, like, say, our roughness, which is also grayscale, and our metallic, which is also black and white. So all of these can actually be packed together into one image that is what this green one is. So basically, in the different channels, like the R, G, and B, these are all like packed together like that. So that's basically going into your metallic as well as like your occlusion and so on. So now basically all of these are together, and we have our asset. We also want to make sure that the material is set up in here as well, so we can do that and apply. So now in our little preview window, that is what it looks like. So one thing that's like a little bit is the roughness on this is a little high, so I might change this to like 0.4 or something. Just be able to get it so that it's not like super shiny, but it depends on your lighting scenario. So, but yeah, that's basically getting your asset into the game. So you're able to kind of have this as your prefab, and then making more assets like this and have this for your game. Make sure to save your project and then continue to render stuff out. So if I go back to my render, let's say, I'm gonna put that. No, it's on the desktop. Oop, my bad. Where'd you go? I know this is a test one. Where did those go? Good question. Renders. There we go. Okay, so on these, I can go in and go to GIMP and load a couple of these. Okay. There we go. Okay. I was like wondering why it was like weird. Okay. So now we have all of these into the same reference folder. So now we can actually go in and do a little bit more work to be able to get these to kind of look a little more of a process. So on this, we can actually do like some verbiage and some text and stuff. So on here, I'm just going to go in and make sure to get the colors and stuff. Let's say like your white. Put your name. Make this a little smaller, maybe. Maybe smaller than that. 40, sure. Okay. Do this as like a 2-line. Okay, change this to right justified. Put that down, and then say like your email. So like for mine, Ryan Griffin, 2D3D artist at gmail.com. Okay, so that's going to be a little bigger. Okay, and over here, let's do wooden and table. Okay, so that's going to be the kind of like name of the project. Let's do this as like 30. Okay, that's fair. Okay. Might make this a little smaller. It's a little unwieldy with how long the email address is, because the name of it should not necessarily be like the focus. Okay. All right, so I'm going to save this real quick. Okay, sure. All right, now that is saved. So one thing that we could do is we could do like a little bit of like filters and noise to be able to try to get a little bit more out of the image. There's a bunch of different techniques that are possible, but I wanted to be able to get some vignetting on here because vignetting is always kind of nice. Forget where that is in here. There it is. There we go. So you can see on the edges that it like softens the edges a little bit for each of the images. So I'm going to do that across all of them. So the filters and then repeat for Control F, and that's going to be the quick way to be able to do that real quick. So just do Control and F. Oops, so that actually put that on the wrong layer. Okay. So now all of these have the vignetting to it, and we have our things there. So with this, you can do several different options with how to present things. There's like a few different examples. Let me show you stuff from my portfolio just to be able to show good examples of work. So with mine, obviously, like we're not making anything like too big, but let's just say like this one or this one here. Both of these are pretty good examples. So with this, like I'm having a little bit more colored backgrounds. I'm having the like lettering. I'm putting a little bit more time. I'm like having like some lens dust, and I'm changing like the color and the lighting here. Having different lighting scenarios, being able to showcase the actual colors and materials and time. And then I also have an image here that breaks down the presentation. So with this, you can see that it has a wireframe on this, as well as the baked um, uh, ambient occlusion for this. So with that, that's a pretty neat little trick, which you can actually do in here as well. There is a technique, I think it is show wireframe. So it's down here because like there's this here. It's a matter of figuring out how to turn that on. No, there's a way to do it. That's a shame. But there's also another way to do it. You can do it where you have, let's say, a paint layer, and then you can also select everything like that, and then taking a screenshot, and then having that, which is this button here, the fill polygon tool, because that selects all the polygons for it. But it's basically this effect, but it's in here. It's like somehow being able to turn on that render setting, which I was trying to figure out, because you should be able to just turn this on, but it might be part of the studio setup or some other camera default setting. Maybe it's like a post. Nope. Okay. Oh well. Okay. So with that, with this, like I'm naming also the type of texturing. So this is the metal rough. I also have like an estimate for like how good the low poly is. So with this, you can see that the number of triangles or polygons is about like 26,000, which like most of that is actually in these here, which it might actually be like too high on these actually, but that's okay. Like this needed to get the right shape, so like that's more of the the more interesting part about it. Where is the? There's a section here. There it is. Okay, now I can turn that off. It's annoying me slightly. Okay. All right. From here, you continue to have the actual rendering for this. If I go back to GIMP here, and so from here, you basically go in and export out each of these. So if we go to export and then render and then do say new folder and then do final, and then in here you're going to go in and export. Although actually, where'd you go? There you are. I'm actually going to turn off this slightly so that I get the first image. There we go. Okay, and then do file export, and then do finals, and then there you go. Okay. Yep. Okay. And then do this across each of the images. So then do that as 2. And then so on and so forth. All right. And so with that, I'm going to turn that off real quick and then go back to our renders, finals, then open that up. Okay. And so that kind of concludes a bit of this part of the tutorial. The coursework here is pretty much going to get you a PBR ready asset that's AAA, and being able to make more assets like this gives you a good fundamental for making other assets like this. Now, this is not the end-all be-all. There's definitely a lot more that can be done to this, as well as continuing to push your skill, but this is a good primer for being able to make something for like a first-time student. So hopefully you all had fun, and I continue on with the rest of the coursework. I'll talk to you later. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Hello, I'm going to give a quick little rundown with a portfolio website called Artstation. It is a very great website for being able to showcase your art as well. Basically, Kara and Artstation are fairly similar, but like it basically depends on your preference for it. Basically being able to showcase like breakdowns for different kinds of assets and like things for different kinds of like presentation and skin for like other like major titles that this is like one of the bigger hubs that's been around for a long time. There's also like jobs on here. There is a marketplace. There is a learning section as well as a explorer for like gallery and information, as well as challenges. So on ArtStation, let's say, oh, I want to learn about Katrina's 3D character art pipeline, which she's actually the lead character artist at Riot Games. She's been doing this a long time. But basically, she does specifically hand-painted stylized characters with that you see in League of Legends. So if you see any of their in-game characters, she probably did one of them. There's also many other tutorials that are probably way better than mine. But this is all for free. So you can check all that as well. There's also the Artstation challenges. So with these, if you actually want to learn more and join a community, you can actually go into, say, this challenge here and join in for like a character process, or if you wanted to do a like environment one, um, basically breaking down how to actually make a environment, which is a collection of props, materials, and has a lot more storytelling elements into it. So with the process here, you can obviously see the breakdown here of how this artist made their environment. Uh, and the challenge here, like this one, got a honorable mention, didn't win per se, but if we go kind of back up and go back here, you can see that there's different sections for like characters, effects, environment art. So there's different ones, as well as being judged by industry professionals. Like you can see the Riot Game character artist here was the judge on this one here. So these are great ways to be able to build community and learn more. So this is just the very beginning steps of everything. So go forth and make interesting stuff and have fun out there. It is part of the journey, and you have skills that you need to learn and practice and get better at. But I encourage you to be able to reach out to people within the 3D community, as well as like joining either Discords or YouTube. There's plenty of stuff out there. So I'll talk to you later.